is Monday, September 8th. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. Unders, and unders, unless we're talking about Sunday Night Football. Jared Smith joins me here on Better Day as we play Monday morning quarterback. And Jared, we can talk about all the unders. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about the quarterbacks on the no-show list. We're absolutely going to get into that. But we have to start with what was one of the more bizarre results that I think you will ever see, especially for week one of an NFL season. The Buffalo Bills defeat the Ravens last night 41-40 after being down the entire game, down 2 scores late in the fourth quarter. I don't know how they pulled this off. Was this more about the Bills being resilient and able to come back, or was this a choke job and an epic failure by the Baltimore Ravens?
I mean, it was just the one fumble. Baltimore dominated the game. They gained almost 9 yards per play. I mean,
why on the final possession aren't you just handing the ball off to Derrick Henry multiple times? And why don't you go for it on fourth down?
You probably should have went for it on fourth down. But it was just really the fumble that flipped the game. And also, Baltimore's defense started to get really gassed in the fourth quarter, and then they were put back on the field at a really inopportune time. And Baltimore even made a couple 50-50 stops on the 2-point conversions and still couldn't win the game. It was not their night. Maybe it's just the Bills' year. Honestly, this sport, Scott, I'm turning 40 next year, so, you look back at some of the things that you're like, oh, wow, you're getting freaking old. This sport just it's crazy. It's just freaking crazy. Some of the games today, some of the things that happen, you can't explain. Like, we can try to be smart and sharp and try to act like we know what's going to happen, but our hubris really is our downfall with some of this stuff because it's just so random and so fluky that you just have to buckle up. And that's the part about all of this. You have to keep in perspective. Like, we can give you the sharpest edges and all these little fun situational spots. The game starts and it's all chaos breaks loose. So that doesn't always happen. And there are instances where we have a really good angle, we have a good edge, and it plays out perfectly in that way. But this was not one of those nights, Sunday Night Football, and I don't think week one, this was really one of those weeks.
Just unbelievable. I mean, last night, my emotions were all over the place. I had the under in the game last night. That was over before it even started.
Yes.
And I thought that this would be a playoff-like atmosphere, which it turns out it was.
Me too.
And also, every game went under yesterday. The Sunday games prior to, well, even including last night, were 11-2 to the under. Okay? Let me just tell you something. That I had the 2 games that went over, I bet both of them under. The Jets and the Steelers and the Ravens and the Bills. So that just goes to show you how bad I did yesterday. Yeah.
That's hard to do. That is hard to. You should be impressed. That is an accomplishment. That is hard to do.
Nailed both of those games for sure. But if you look at these matchups between the Ravens and the Bills, 4 of the last 5 matchups went under. I mean, these teams have played each other so much, you would have thought that there was some sense of pride, of defense, of being able to shut down the other team. And really, it was, I think, forget about the Ravens defense not being able to contain the Bills late in the game, because I think you hit the nail on the head. They were fatigued late in that fourth quarter. And the fact that they had to come back on the field, and we saw that in the Jet game against the Steelers as well, because the Jet game flipped with a fumble on the kickoff, and Aaron Rodgers threw 2 touchdown passes in a minute. So if it's week one. These players don't play in the preseason. It's only a 3-week preseason. They're not in the best of football shape right now. So they are going to be gassed in the fourth quarter. But the Bills' defense inability to stop the run is a major concern. And I know it's Derrick Henry, and you're going to say, Derrick Henry's it's a different animal. But they were bad in this game last night. And all we heard in the offseason was how, the Bills addressed their defensive issues, and Sean McDermott's a defensive guy, and they're going to figure this thing out. While I love them to win the Super Bowl. They were my pick before the season started. I bet them so many different ways in the futures market. That defense last night is not winning a Super Bowl. The offense and Josh Allen is, but that defense, no shot. No shot, unless they win games like they did last night.
Well, that's the issue they had last year. The Ravens, it was only 3 plays, but they had a 100% success rate on late runs, third and fourth downs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're going to have 100% success rate on third and fourth and short, assuming you're, I don't remember what the distance was, but when you're running it on third and fourth down, it's usually within a couple of yards. You're not going to win. If you can't get off the field on third and fourth and short, you're not going to win. Not in the NFL, not with these quarterbacks that can do so much. It was an awesome game. It was really, it was an awesome game to watch. It was fun. I wish I had live bets on both sides, especially after Buffalo started, right? Buffalo started with the touchdown, up 7-0, and then you had a chance right there to bet Baltimore. That's always a great live betting opportunity. Two elite quarterbacks in a pick'em game, and the first quarterback on script drives right down the field, and let's say the line flips to the other quarterback catching 3.5 or whatever. Until the scripts have been played out, it's still a pick'em game. When you have two quarterbacks that are so good at the script like that. So I thought that was an opportunity to bet the Ravens. And then obviously you had multiple opportunities to bet the Bills at a big price for pretty much the entire second half. So, I mean, that's kind of the lesson here with these games is the pre-flop positions can be very flawed. And really, actually, Mike Palm said this to me, and I credit him because he changed my perspective on it. He asked me once before I was doing a VSiN show 2 or 3 years ago. He said, if you had to allocate the percentage of your bankroll that you live bet compared to your pre-flop bets, what would it be? And I'm like, 50-50. Maybe it's actually probably 60-40, 70-30 pre-flop. He's like, you should flip that. You should flip that. Yeah. Just because when you're watching these games, you just get so many opportunities. But we're so trained, lock in our bets. These are our positions. We're tied to them. We're committed to them. And we can't deviate when in reality, the flexibility of kind of flowing with the game is really the best way to approach it.
Yeah, and in reality, last night was probably a live betting dream, as you mentioned. You had multiple opportunities to take both of these teams, and forget about like the total. The total was absurd. Like I was on the under, and it was a completely wrong read in this game. But like the opportunities to bet the Bills. At the half, they were, you could have gotten them at, plus 9.5, plus 10.5. You could have gotten them plus 14.5. You could have gotten the Ravens at one point at plus price. You could have, there was so many different ways to play this. And then you could have played the team totals over and all these fun little ways to get into it from a live betting perspective. So there was definitely money to be had last night in this game. I will say this, though. The advice that I have been talking about the entire offseason when preparing for this game, and you and I talked about it, last week, the advice was you wait to see who loses this game and you bet them to win the division. Now, 100%. Last night was the best case scenario for you because of what happened yesterday in week 1. Everyone in the AFC East lost. Everybody in the AFC East lost. The Dolphins look terrible. They lose. The Jets lose. And we're not even going to talk about, the Patriots, Jets, and Dolphins, whatever. So they lose, okay? The Bills, prior to kickoff last night, jumped up to a minus 450 to minus 500 favorite to win the division. Now, remember, they were minus 300, minus 350. And we were saying, if they lose to the Ravens, they'll drop down to like maybe, minus 250. And you get this is a decent price to lay. But no chance after those teams lost, every team lost in the division. Meanwhile, in the AFC North, the Steelers won, and the Bengals won. And so now with a Ravens loss, the Ravens, who were a minus 185 favorite to win the division, or the Ravens now, you get them at a much more favorable price. That would be my recommendation. Bet the Baltimore Ravens right now to win the AFC North.
Yeah, I don't see the numbers up. I don't think they flashed it yet. We're recording this right after the game, but yeah, my guess is be plus money. Who do they play next week is the question. They have a tough game next week.
This is the scenario that happened last year. You're going to go back to the well because I certainly did it last year, and I got burned. Last year, I backed the Ravens in week number 2 against the Raiders after they lost that week 1 game against against Kansas City. And I'm thinking, there's no way they're going to start 0-2. And then, of course, they were home in week number 2.
No,
and they
lose to the
Raiders at home.
They're not losing to Cleveland at home next week. It's not.
It's good. Listen. I will say this. I will say this, Jared. Jared, I will say this. Okay. I will say this. The Ravens might be the number 1 survivor pick next week in Circa
Oh
Survivor.
yeah, of course,
Because
yeah,
they're at home, they're playing the Browns, and that's the whole idea. They're not going to go 0-2. They're too good to go 0-2. And if the Browns win, I'm just saying, we've seen these things before, although not this year, because no one got eliminated this year in Circa Survivor. 69
no,
entries into the Grandissimo, all 69 advance. And in Circa Survivor, the big one with 18,000 entries, the biggest loser was only like 200 people. Like everybody advanced. That was not the case, though, for Circa Millions, Jared. In Circa Millions, not only did the top 5 most selected teams go 0-5 against the spread,
wow.
and it was the New York Giants were the most selected team. I took the Giants. I lost. Actually, Giants were like my best bet, and I got crushed there. Anyway, the
They looked
Giants were the
awful,
most
by the
selected.
way.
We're going to get to it in a minute here. Giants were the most selected. Oh, they lost. Falcons plus 2.5, loser. Seahawks plus 2.5, loser. Lions plus 2.5, loser. Broncos minus 8.5, loser, because Sean Payton does not decide to kick a field goal and go up 2 possessions. Instead, goes for it on 4th down, and they win by they win by 8. They don't win by they don't cover the number. So not only did the top 5 selections, Jared, go 0-5. Let's look at the next 5 selections. Bengals, loser. Dolphins, loser. Ravens, loser. Cardinals, winner. So congratulations there. Cardinals with the winner. We are talking now, what, 1-9? Oh, Steelers, loser. So we're talking 1-9 against the spread for the top 10 most selected teams in the Circa Millions contest.
Ridiculous. I went 2-3.
So did
I
I.
had the Colts. I had the Colts and the Raiders were my 2 winners. Giants, Falcons, Seahawks were my losers. Deserved much better with Atlanta. Much better with Atlanta. The top of my fluky loss chart is Atlanta this week. They won yards per play. They won the success rate. They missed field goals. That was it. That was what they did wrong in the game. I I don't know. I think the Texans too. I thought the Texans deserved better. I thought really to be fair, you give a lot of credit to the Rams defense. I thought the Rams defense played really well. Stafford kind of gave you what he could. Him and Devontae Adams are going to be a big time trouble if he gets into form and he stays healthy. But Seahawks too. I mean, Darnold. This is why we can't trust Darnold. It's because in the big moments he's not going to come up big. Seahawks had multiple opportunities to win and cover that game. The Niners, what voodoo magic did the Niners rub up against? It's ridiculous. Every time I looked at their game, it was another player being ushered to the sidelines, in addition to obviously a lot of the guys they've lost already. I had 6 teams that 1 yards per play lost the game. Ravens had the biggest margin. 8.7 yards per play to 6.4 lost the game.
Wow.
Jets were a plus 1.4, lost the game. Browns were a plus 1.7. The Bengals gained 2.9 yards per play and won a football game. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then on Thursday night, the Cowboys were a plus a half a yard per play in net and lost the game. And then the Saints, 4.5 yards per play the Cardinals game. Figured out a way to win that football game. Saints offense I thought looked good early, but then just kind of ran out of smoke and mirror.
But a great throw by Rattler there on that final drive that was caught for the touchdown, but then he drops it when he hits the ground. Do you think that Kellen Moore would have gone for 2 for the win?
I tweeted it. I said he should. We never find out. Sometimes I put those things out there in the universe in case they happen so I can stake claim to it, but I would have. I mean, you're 7-point dog in the game. You're at home. I am always so this happened in college twice this weekend. In college twice this weekend, where the team in single overtime that has the ball second needed a touchdown to tie. They score the touchdown to tie, so they're down 1, extra point pending. Both teams kick the extra point to tie, and then you get the ball first, right, to start the second overtime. Both teams lost in double overtime. you go for 2 in the win when you can. I think I'm a big proponent. I think it's better than a coin flip now because of where all the rules are with the defenses and the offenses and how easy it is to do the RPO stuff.
You're talking about in the first overtime because in the
First
second
overtime, the teams
in the
didn't
second
go for
overtime,
2.
you have to go for 2.
They went for the tie instead, where they could have gone for 2 and the win. Both teams that pussified out and went extra point then got the ball first in double overtime, and both of those teams lost the game in double overtime.
Terrible. I know I was on one of them. I had Michigan State.
Yeah, it was Michigan State, Boston College, and it was UConn. No, not UConn. It was SMU and Baylor.
Yeah. By the way, the odds are up. Oh, Michigan State won that game by BC lost.
Yeah.
By the way, the odds are out for the divisions. Ravens minus 150 for the AFC North.
See, it didn't even move. It was like minus 160.
From minus 185 to minus 150. No, barely any adjustment on the division. I'd still make that bet.
So you're not getting anything there.
But it's 30 cents.
I wouldn't bet that. I would not bet that.
You would not take the 30 cents? No?
No, because I guess maybe, but then they play Detroit in 2 weeks. So it's like, just bet them against Detroit, and then you avoid the Cleveland madness. I think the lesson I learned this week was I liked the Raiders a lot. I didn't bet them. I put them in the contest, but I didn't bet them. We liked the Raiders over this year. Like the Patriots under. I didn't bet that game. I liked the Packers over this year a lot. Could have got them at like -1, -2. Didn't bet it. I think I need to be a little bit more aggressive with my opinions of these teams when I'm betting them individually.
One thing that I did suffer victim to yesterday, and I tweeted this out, the first pain of the season. So I like to do a little, as Mitch and Paulie would say, pizza money bet. You and I have talked about this before. We can decide what we want to name it. I think you said coffee bet's too expensive. So you're right. I called it yesterday. I referred to it as an energy drink bet. Because, you go well, what's a Monster cost these days? Like $3.50? It's a cheap little bet. Okay. So I don't know if you drink energy drinks. I live off caffeine.
I don't. I'm a coffee guy.
I don't drink coffee. That's why. So I don't drink coffee. I just, I drink a lot of pre-workout and a lot of energy drinks. Okay. So I did a 7-leg anytime touchdown scorer parlay. Just for fun, We're talking, like I said, small money here, but I would have won, a couple $100, which is nice, off a little just for fun type of play here. You're watching the Red Zone channel and you want to check off your boxes of your little touchdown parlays. So here are the legs: Bijan Robinson, touchdown; Bucky Irving, touchdown; Ashton Genty, touchdown; Chuba Hubbard, touchdown; Chase Brown, touchdown; James Conner, touchdown; Jonathan Taylor, no touchdown. And no, we do not have the ghost leg promo here in Las Vegas. So I wish.
Of course not.
Because if we had the ghost leg that DraftKings was promoting, well, then maybe I'd get paid out on this. But if I told you, Jared, you didn't watch the game, you didn't see any stats, you didn't know what happened. You asked me, you said, Scott, hey, I didn't get a chance to catch the scores yesterday. Like, what happened? Like, you were on, you ran a marathon, okay? Yeah, because I know you're training. So you ran a marathon. You had no idea what happened in the NFL. And while you're unable to walk because your legs are in atrophy, you're saying, hey, Scott, what happened yesterday? And I go, man, the Colts beat the Dolphins 33-8. You'd be like, oh, my goodness, 33-8. How many touchdowns did Jonathan Taylor have? And I told you he had 0 touchdowns.
I'd be surprised.
You'd be shocked. You'd be shocked. Danny Dimes vulturing him at the goal line twice. 2 rushing touchdowns for Daniel Jones.
To be fair, I did think Jones was going to play well. I just had a feeling that him and Steichen are going to make some magic. I don't know how long it'll last, but he's clearly an upgrade over Richardson. Clearly.
Oh, I agree with that. Well, okay, so that leads me into this little next portion of this show that I want to do right now with you. It's, I guess we can call it question and answer, okay? I'm going to ask you some hypothetical questions. Rhetorical questions, really, because there really is no answer, but we're going to try and figure out an answer together. And Daniel Jones is a part of this first question. So, Question number one, and we'll do this each and every Monday. I think this is a fun exercise when it comes to playing Monday morning quarterback and recapping all the games that we saw here on Sunday in the NFL. And no, Jared did not get any of these questions in advance, so this is blind
I didn't
reaction
even know we were
right
doing this.
now. Exactly. This is what I do. I come at you here. All right. Question number one. Was the failures of the New York Giants in previous seasons not Daniel Jones's fault? Because what did we see yesterday? Danny Dimes looked good. Giants look terrible.
Yeah. I think there's a disconnect with what Dable's trying to do and the rest of the team. Him and Neighbors jawing on the sidelines in the first week is not a good sign. That's not a good sign. Mm-hmm. I tweeted that he's going to be the first coach fired, and it's so funny. I'll tweet when I'm right about something, and nobody will respond. I tweeted that, and I had 30, 40 people that I never heard from on Twitter before all say, Mike McDaniel, you're wrong, Mike McDaniel. Yeah, and I'm not saying Mike McDaniel's not on the hot seat too, but what I saw yesterday with Dable and the star player on the team, make no mistake, the Giants have one star player on offense. His name's Malik Neighbors. Mm-hmm. And Neighbors is at wit's end. I don't know if he's pissed at Russ. I don't know if he's pissed at Dable. Dable's trying to get him under control. He's trying to dap him up. Neighbors doesn't want to look at him. It was ugly. It reminded me of the OBJ drama. That's an issue. And I think Mara has had enough. I think he is fed up. Whereas I think the Dolphins, the owner, is not as engaged as Mara is. So if things get a little bit hairy here, where he kind of loses the locker room, despite how bad the Dolphins looked, this is a really bad... He should have been fired last year. He absolutely should have been gone last year, but they let him pick Jackson Dart. And I don't know if it was him that picked Jackson Dart, but he's gonna hitch his wagon to him because it's probably his best ticket to stay. And this is a really interesting scenario happening here with the Giants. They were supposed to be a really feisty underdog this year and play above their number, but man, what I saw yesterday, holy moly. They had nothing. They were lifeless in the second half of that game, and Russell Wilson looks like he has lost everything.
Well, defensively, I thought, and the score kind of really isn't indicative of how the entire game played out, because the Commanders did score a touchdown late, and it was remember the Giants had they had first and goal at the 3-yard line and couldn't score a touchdown late in the game. So the Giants, they were down 14-6, and then it was in the fourth quarter, the Washington scored a touchdown to make it a 21-6 game. Giants did get down to the 3-yard line, could have made it a 1-score game. If the Giants lose by 7, because they get the touchdown and the 2-point conversion there, and all of a sudden it's a 21-14 game, and that's the final score, it doesn't look as bad as 21-6 looks, because 21-6...
I'm telling you, when I looked at the internals, listen to some of these stats. They lost yards per play 6.6 to 3.7. They were outgained by nearly 3 net yards per play. Their defense allowed 6.6 yards per play and a 52% success rate. That is not a good day for your defense. And Washington committed 12 penalties for 89 yards, and the Giants still couldn't score a freaking touchdown. I mean, it was bad. They didn't lose the turnover battle. They didn't commit a turnover in the game. I don't know how they didn't score a touchdown in this game. Even the Dolphins scored a touchdown yesterday. It is pathetic that you were unable to get into the end zone when this team allowed 90. You got 90 free yards in penalties.
Yeah.
And your defense was getting worked for almost 7 yards per play. So I have absolutely nothing positive to say about Brian Dable and the Giants yesterday. They look like one of the worst teams in the NFL.
I said this, you'll agree with me. If that game was at home yesterday, the fans are chanting. The fans are chanting for Jackson Dart.
God.
They're chanting, "We want Dart. We want Dart." Like the whole...
Well, you're going to get it soon. Because that's the only thing that will save Dable.
Yep.
That's the only thing.
Maybe the only thing that could save this team, but that was certainly embarrassing. Okay, let's talk about another New York team, and this is my next question. Are the Jets good, Jared?
No.
Okay.
Here's what the Jets are. Very exciting run team. Kind of like a triple option kind of offense, which will catch some teams off guard early. and then eventually Justin Fields will run out of gas. And hey, maybe his arm has improved. I like some of the route concepts I saw yesterday. A lot of Garrett Wilson on Dovers, right? We love those deep over route concepts. That's very popular in the NFL today. And Justin Fields put a couple really nice balls on the money for him. I like what I saw from the tight end, the youngster, the kid from LSU. I thought he played well. But you let Aaron Rodgers just march it up and down on you. And to be fair, the special teams turnover was kind of rough. But not a whole lot of backbone in the second half of that game. In a revenge game, when you're facing a 40-year-old quarterback who cannot move, and you're just letting him sit back there and pick your team apart in the second half. So, 7 penalties, over-aggressive, stupid mistakes, ran it well, gained 6.5 yards per play. No one knew what Justin Fields in this offense was going to be. Now it's on tape, and I think defenses will adjust. And I think the Jets offense has a very, very ceiling to it. Okay. And I don't think it's going to get raised at all.
All right, let's move on. Are the Raiders a playoff team?
Yes. They're in the mix.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I like it.
I mean,
they look good.
They look good. We were all over them all year.
They look good.
Go look. I tweeted out the film study today or yesterday, and I said, "Oh, look, the Raiders' offense looks significantly improved." Shocked. And it was me quote tweeting my film study from July when I said Chip Kelly will make the Raiders offense drastically improved in 2025. He's a pro, and Geno's a pro, and Gentry's got some wiggle to it, and Jacoby Myers played a really good game, and they got 2 stud tight ends, really tough, stretch you vertically kind of tight ends that can also get underneath, really tough covers. It's like having 2 Tony Gonzalez's out there in their prime. Really tough to defend them. What do you take away? Geno can kind of hurt you with the short, quick stuff. They can run it, and then they can take you vertically up the seam with a stud tight end, 2 of them.
Yeah.
Really tough to defend them. Now, Geno has his moments, but they're in the mix.
The thing.
For sure.
They're going to lose games because Geno's careless with the football. He's got a lot of gunslinger in him. But sometimes it's not gunslinger. Like when we use the term gunslinger for a quarterback, that means, they make reckless throws or whatever. But that is the term given to a quarterback because they make those reckless throws because in their minds, they actually believe that they can put the ball in the tiniest of windows. Brett Favre, Jay Cutler, these are guys who trusted their arm talent so much that they felt, I don't care where the defense is, I know I can make that throw. And so they threw the ball, and sometimes it wound up being an interception, and we're like, guy's a gunslinger. He goes for it. I think Geno Smith makes some of those throws because he has mental lapses, and he doesn't see the defense. It's not that he forces the ball into the window. It's that, how does he not see the defender there? Like when he almost threw an interception yesterday that the defender dropped where it was the linebacker dropped back in coverage. As a quarterback, you have to recognize that. You cannot throw the ball over the middle when the linebacker drops back there. He almost threw it right into his hands. I think that's the Geno Smith gunslinger where it's like he doesn't recognize certain things. Not that he thinks, I can make this throw. It's that, oops, my bad.
Yeah,
that's what I think about Geno.
I think he is who he is. He's a significant upgrade from where the Raiders had last year.
Oh, sure.
And if you look at the rest of the AFC, I mean, I'll be honest, the Dolphins obviously down, right? Who are the other AFC fringe wild card contenders? Dolphins.
Steelers, Bengals.
Look good. Bengals won.
Yeah.
Dolphins
Broncos.
lost. Patriots lost. I would say the Broncos did not look great. Knicks looks shaky through 2 picks. Chargers looked okay, but I'm still not sold. Jacksonville looked okay. I think there's an opening for them. I wouldn't make them a favorite to be in the playoffs, but I'll tell you what, I make the line a lot tighter this week already, and I think I'm going to be on Vegas plus 3.5 against the Chargers coming off that Brazil trip.
I have already made that wager. So you and I are in lockstep with a week too early.
I think they're going to be a really feisty underdog this year because they're a really tough prep with that offense. Really tough prep. They're going to stay in a lot of games with those 2 tight ends and that running back this year. Really tough to prep for them.
Should we go to that game? It's a Monday night game. Should we go?
Maybe. Sure.
Yeah, we'd
How
go.
much
Get some
you paying?
content. Yeah, we'll get on the sidelines. We'll do what we got to do. We know enough people. All right. Next question. I asked you if the Raiders are a playoff team. My next question: are the Lions not a playoff team?
I'm not ready to sell on Detroit just yet.
Okay.
I think
it didn't look good.
I'm concerned without Ben Johnson. The red flag is squarely up without Ben Johnson, no doubt about it. 3.8 yards per play is not good, but they walked into a hornet's nest on Sunday. The Packers are the best team in that division. Period. End of story. Stop. Full stop. Move on. With Micah now, who's a closer on defense, and with Jacobs, who's a closer on offense, and Love gets them into everything in the right way. That's the thing about Jordan Love that we really don't respect and talk about enough. He sat for multiple years. And what that does is it makes you hungry and it makes you smart and you are sharp. You know your stuff because you've been sitting on the sidelines watching. And the thing I like the most about Jordan Love is he gets his team into the best play possible on every single situation. And he has ultimate freedom at the line of scrimmage. And him and LaFleur are on the exact same page. And now he's got some weapons at his disposal. And he's got a closer at pass rush. So this is a number one seed Packers team. People need to recognize that. They're going to win 13 or 14 games this year if they're fully healthy all year. So I don't want to just discount Detroit because they ran into a juggernaut that's growing into their juggernaut status. They face Chicago at home next week. They bounce back with a win there, and we'll talk very differently about the Lions. But then they play the Ravens in 2 weeks on Monday night. It's going to be a fascinating game. They usually don't play well against that team. So I think that's the moment where if they go into Baltimore that Monday night in week 3 and they lay an egg in that game, then I'm going to probably look back and say, yeah, I don't think this is a Lions team that we should be taking seriously to be an NFC contender this year.
All right, good stuff there. Let's recap some of the numbers from yesterday before we get into our preview of Monday Night Football for tonight. We talk about the no-show list, Jared, and this is what we talked about, the quarterbacks who did not play in the preseason. And before we go into the individual numbers, that's what you were talking about. My focus was on the games going under. Listen, games go under in week number 1. We know that in general. But if you look at the quarterbacks that we were talking about, we already knew about Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott on Thursday. That game went under. Michael Penix and Baker Mayfield, their game went under. Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen did not, for sure. Jared Goff, their game went under. Matthew Stafford, his game went under. And Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, that game went over. Before we get to that, more on the no-show list, Jared. Passing yardage props. So both Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott on Thursday went under. You had Michael Penix went over, but Baker Mayfield went under. You had Jared Goff go under. Matthew Stafford went over on the last freaking play.
That one hurt me the most because that flipped a positive to a negative on the week for me. That really hurt.
They needed to do, in case you didn't see the end of the game, the Rams were running the football. They needed a first down, and then they could take knees and end the game. And Stafford was under his passing yardage prop. Then on a third down, instead of running the ball and milking the clock, they do a play action, roll out. Stafford completes a pass that goes for 21 yards, and they get the first down naturally.
So bad. If it goes for 10 yards, we win. And it only needed to go for like 5.
No, 5. It was 3rd and 5, yeah. Just a short little completion, and you get it. But it's a catch and run for 21 yards or so, and Stafford goes over. Aaron Rodgers did go over, which was like,
that was done from the start.
Crazy. Rodgers
I'll
going
be honest,
over.
It was not a great week for me with reads. It was not a great week for me with seeing things. Like I was guessing, I was dart throwing, I was putting my efforts behind that trend, and that trend did not do well. I think the quarterbacks, the 9 quarterbacks on the list, I think it went 4 and 5. The unders went 4 and 5. So, listen, does that mean I'm a Dumbo who doesn't know ball? No, just means it didn't work out this week. If Stafford stays under, it's 5 and 4, and it's a profitable week. So,
and also, like, let's acknowledge what week 1 is. Week 1 is just to get your data points. Like, we're going off priors, we're going off expectations. Now we actually have a data point on these teams, so we'll have differing opinions going into week number 2, and then in week number 3, we'll have differing opinions. In week 4, we'll have differing opinions. The more data points we get on these teams for this season, the better the handicaps are going to be. So week 1 is always like, that's why I say like, oh, I went 2 and 3 in Circa Millions. Like, That's all I'm trying to do in week number 1 because I don't know anything about it.
3-2 is really the goal.
Well,
3-2 is really the goal. You just want to stay. You just want to keep. You just want to keep alive. You just want to keep alive.
Yeah, listen,
you want to get away from the 1-4s.
The fact that the top 10 teams went 1-9 ATS, I think I'm okay here with the 2-3 in week number 1.
Yeah, you're right.
But we're just about acquiring data points here. As for the unders, which dominated the day yesterday, 11-2 to the under in the games that were played yesterday. Of course, yours truly bet on the 2 games that went over. I had the under in the really Jets game.
Really hard to do.
And I had the under in the Sunday night game. Favorites dominated. They went 11-1 straight up. The only favorite that did not win was the Baltimore Ravens. Favorites did go 9-3 against the spread. And it was the only dogs that covered were the Jets against the Steelers, the Broncos.
Lost.
I mean, the Bengals against the Browns against the Bengals covered.
Who also lost. You know how rare that is in the NFL for dogs to cover and not win? Very rare, especially dogs of 3 or less. Very rare.
And the Titans, depending on the number, but the Titans covered. Yep.
Now that one was a little bit bigger, so.
Yeah, which is crazy.
It's so rare though. Usually it's like 70-75% when the favorite covers, or when the favorite wins, they also cover. So the fact that we had 3 of them this week is pretty weird.
But dude, the money line parlays, just like everybody did last year, they all cashed this week.
Is it going to be another year where the favorites and everyone, the public, just destroys the NFL?
It can't. No, you mean the public kills it? No, last year was historic. Last year was the best year in 20 years.
The sharp dogs all got killed this week. Giants, Seahawks, Falcons. All the sharp dogs all got destroyed. Those are all the dogs that all my sharp friends were on. Falcons, Seahawks. The Texans, not as much. But definitely the Giants. Giants, Falcons, Seahawks. I feel like every single professional gambler over the age of 40 that lives in Nevada was on those 3, if not 2 out of the 3. And all 3 of them lost.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, man. I'm telling you. We're looking at this from the wrong side. We should just be shoving our chips into the middle on all the square money lines every week. Because that's what's been winning the last 2 years.
I joked about this with Fez last year, when we were talking about, everything what was going down in the historic season and whatnot. And I said, Fez, if I never met you, I would have won Circa Millions last year.
I'd be having an unbelievable year.
I said, if I never met you 4 years ago, right?
Yeah.
If I never moved to Vegas and started working with you, I would have won Circa Millions last year because old Square Scott that's betting all the favorites would have went 63% last year in Circa Millions and dominated. But instead, I've become a dog better, which served me well for the first 3 years of me living in Vegas. Last year, not so much. I got crushed last year, and I got crushed here in week number 1. I took the points with a lot of these dogs, and it did not work out here in week number 1. Now, I don't believe that's going to be the case as we progress throughout the season, and so we'll see where it moves from here on out. But congratulations to all those people who did cash tickets here on Sunday, week number 1. Let's go ahead and look to cash a ticket here tonight in Monday Night Football. And I'm going to look at something, Jared, and it is, I've talked about it before. I talked about it on this pod before. I've talked about it on other shows. The anti-correlated same-game parlay, where you can take 2 aspects of a game that are negatively correlated. The sportsbook doesn't know how to handle it, and you can get a jacked up payout on 2 of these legs. The same game parlay that I am giving you right now, it was at plus 575 on a 2-leg same game parlay. Those odds have now decreased. So I apologize. Maybe I'm too public about this stuff and I've decreased the odds here, but I'm going to give you actually the number of what it is now, because that's the only thing that you care about is what can you bet now, right? Not about what you could have bet. So the premise here is I'm going to go over Caleb Williams completions at 20.5 completions, while parlaying that with Caleb Williams to go under his passing yardage. So we're going over completions, but under on yardage. So the over on completions is 20.5. The under on yardage is 218.5. Right now that pays out plus 485 on that 2-leg parlay. Now you're asking, Scott, why do I like this? Well, I took a look at Ben Johnson's offense. I dove a little deep here. Jared, you're going to like this because you're a film study guy.
I do like this.
Last year, the Detroit Lions, oh, and by the way, they did the same thing here on Sunday, and it didn't work out for them. And I'll explain. The Detroit Lions last year were the number 1 team in the NFL in yards after the catch. They thrived on yards after the catch. Jared Goff had a really nice season. A lot of passing yards for Jared Goff last year. But all of those yards, the majority of them, came after the catch was made. If you looked at Jared Goff last year, of the quarterbacks in the NFL that took at least 250 snaps, Jared Goff ranked 35th in average depth of target. What that means is he is not throwing the ball downfield. Now, there certainly are some plays where he'll take a deep shot to Jameson Williams, and we've seen that before. But the majority of his passes are short passes. What do we know about this Ben Johnson offense? If we look at Jared Goff's ADOT over the past couple of years under Ben Johnson, short passes, screen passes.
I know where you're going with this.
High
completions
percentage
over,
throws.
yards under.
Over completions, under yardage. Because this, and Ben Johnson told us, he told us a couple of weeks ago in the preseason, what is your goal for Caleb Williams this year? I want him to complete 70% of his passes. Well, how do you do
Absolutely.
that? High percentage throws. We are going to see a boatload of screen passes tonight, short passes to the tight ends, to the running backs, passes behind the line of scrimmage. And the Vikings defense last year, they allowed a lot of yards after catch. So that's something that you know that Brian Flores is going to want to pay attention to. But here's something. They allowed the 6th lowest average depth of target in the NFL last year, meaning they allowed you to take the underneath stuff. They had the Vikings defense last year, the 4th most average target separation, which you would think that's a bad sign. That means the cornerbacks they're not covering the receivers. They're playing away from them. But what that tells me, if they allowed the 6th lowest depth of target with the 4th most target separation, that means they're playing back and they're letting you catch things underneath. And they're saying, we're going to give up the short pass because we're going to come up and tackle you and we're not going to get beat deep. I think that happens tonight with the Vikings against this Ben Johnson run offense for the Bears, that they're going to drop back in coverage and they're going to say, Caleb Williams is not going to beat us deep, but we're going to let you dink and dunk. So he'll rack up. He'll probably go 25 for 37, but he's only going to have like 190 yards. So over completions for Caleb Williams, under yardage for Caleb Williams, currently plus 485 on that negatively correlated parlay.
And then if you throw in the Bears plus 1.5, you get it almost to 15-1.
I don't want to touch the tide. I don't want to touch the tide.
And that's fair. I'm just giving you the extra tier, right?
I
know Fez is on.
Juice. You like it?
Yeah, no,
like
listen, I know you're giving the extra tier, right? That's the bonus tier.
Yeah.
Fez gave out Bears plus 1. Now, full transparency, Fez and I are having a terrible week in our Splash Sports contest. I went 1-4, and Fez is 1-3 with the Bears pending. But maybe our luck will turn. So he's on the Bears plus 1.5. I'm on the Vikings plus 1.5 from back in the summer.
Yeah.
I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the rest of that position yet. I'm assuming, based off of what happened last night, I should probably just wait for the Vikings to score the first touchdown of the game and then come back on the Bears plus 7.5. Like, that's probably what I should do. But we'll see. We'll let cooler heads prevail maybe tomorrow night.
I'll give you the other leg if you want to add to this same game parlay. Now, I think these are just also 3 legs that you can just bet individually. I love these 3 legs individually. The third leg here is Jordan Mason over 39.5 yards. I talked to somebody that covers the Vikings this week, and they told me that Jordan Mason is not only going to be the goal line back for this Vikings offense, but at some point will take over as the number 1 back. Like, he is more of a dynamic runner, more of a, he's certainly an interior runner, a bigger guy. And I think he's going to have a big role. He is going to have a big role in this offense. They're both going to play. Both Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason are going to play. Jordan Mason over 39.5 rushing yards. That's cashing here in this game on Monday Night Football. So that can be your 3-leg parlay if you want to add in the third leg there. but
I don't
I
hate
like
it.
Jordan Mason a lot. I like
I
it.
mean, listen, I think the prop market, based off of what I've studied over the last few years, there are some really, really good people that can give you strands of information that can
Hmm.
become very profitable. From what I've learned, a lot of times these people themselves are not bettors, but you yourself as a bettor have to have the ability to translate the information that they are giving you and then find the right wager to make. Sometimes it's easier, sometimes
Yeah.
it's harder. I think in this case, it's pretty easy.
Hmm. Well, that's my take on the game here for tonight. I do, if I was going to bet it right now at this number, I mean, I like the Vikings. I think I would just go Vikings money line. I think the Vikings win this game. I think the Vikings are a better team. Uh, you know, I don't want to lay the 1.5. It's minus 120 or so on the money line. I would do that. I lean under just because I'm always an under guy, and unders have dominated this week. Division unders undefeated this week, 5-0. So if you want division
Obviously.
games under, and so you can look at a division game under here in this game, Vikings and Bears, but also rookie head coaches. By the way, rookie head coaches 3-1 to the under right now. The only one that went over was Aaron Glenn and the Jets. So we are waiting to see what happens here with Ben Johnson. I just don't know what to expect. We don't know. We haven't seen J.J. McCarthy play in a regular season game, and we haven't seen Ben Johnson as a head coach. So this is a big unknown game tonight.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, week 1 divisional unders did very well today. I
Yes.
just updated it on my sheet. 6-1 so far this week. Obviously, you had the Chargers, Chiefs, and
the Cowboys.
miraculously,
Mhm.
the Cowboys Eagles game staying under.
Yeah.
So how about this? So divisional unders now in the last few years are 6, 7, 13, and 5, 18, and 6 in the last 4 seasons. Divisional unders in week 1, 18 and 6 in the last 4 years.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. 18
Free
6.
money.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's I have it at 19 and 6. So you got to update your database.
I wonder what pick doesn't have. I wonder what pick doesn't have in. It might be from earlier.
Uh,
I mean, it's
yeah.
Bet Lab, so it's whatever they're doing.
Yeah, I'm looking at week 1 since the start of the 2021 season. You know what sometimes happens is I always list as I do favorites, not by home teams, because we do have neutral site games. Like what we had now with the international game, like the Brazil game last year was not a division game, but it was a division
Yeah.
game this year, right? So
Well,
I
I
wanted
have
to
it
include that.
19 and 7 since the start of 21. If you include 5, it went 1-1 in 2021. There's only 2 divisional games that year.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, what I was just going to say is sometimes the different databases they go
Yes.
by different closing lines. So, like, you'll have an instance like if a game
So
closes
no,
as
this
a
isn't
pick 'em.
favorites. This is unders. This isn't favorites.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is unders.
I'm just, but that's how you separate because unless you have to find a way to separate the teams. Otherwise, you're just going to look at I have to find a separate when I look at it. I have to determine
Okay.
because otherwise, it's just going to give me both sides of the game. It's going to give me both teams in the game. So I have to isolate one team. So I can either choose by isolating a road team or a home team, or I isolate a favorite or a dog. And sometimes in the database, if a game closes as a pick'em, a different database will have it as a -1. Different database might have it as a +1. So you get differentiating numbers. But since this is what my database shows, home teams, divisional home teams in week 1 since 2021, 19 and 6 to the under, 15 and 10 ATS. If you are a divisional home dog, oh boy, 7 and 3 ATS.
Wow.
Good for the Bears, I guess.
Yeah, but also, I mean, we had 2 today that both lost. So
Yeah,
Seattle
and
and
this line
Atlanta.
too.
So
Yeah.
it just, I mean, I don't want to overlook it. I think the under trend made a lot of sense that I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I bet a lot of first half unders. I think that was the better bet than the passing yards unders. I think these games got very loosey-goosey in the second half. And that's why some of these passing yard unders, like if you're betting unders on Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and these guys, like you're asking for trouble. Like the unders that hit were the Jared Goffs and the, Baker Mayfield, the guys that, actually to be fair to Baker, I thought he played really well considering he didn't have a great statistical game yardage wise. I thought he saw the field really well. Egbuka is clearly the favorite for offensive rookie of the year.
Stud.
Yeah, absolute stud. I thought you could have bet him at like 30-1 before the season started too. I think Tyler Warren's in the mix too, but it's going to be tough for a tight end to win that award. Usually a receiver, running back usually has the edge. I didn't think, and I'll have to go back and watch the film. In fact, I might do a film study on Cam Ward this week to kind of figure out what I saw with him because, I mean, that was really bad. Yeah, I feel like he had a lot of drops though. I thought I saw
All
a
right,
lot of drops in the game.
I do have some updated, before we sign off here, I do have some updated awards markets here. I just want to compare. I'm looking at FanDuel right now. Let's see. DraftKings only has the MVP market up, but FanDuel has the other markets up. And here's the updated market right now. Josh Allen's your favorite to win the MVP, plus 380. Lamar Jackson's your second favorite, plus 550. Offensive Player of the Year, Derrick Henry is the favorite at plus 650.
We saw this last year.
Yep. Saquon Barkley is the second favorite, plus 900. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Ashton Genty is the favorite at plus 270. Cam Ward, plus 500. Emeka Ibuka, plus 900.
That's wrong. Egbuka should be, I think, the favorite right now.
Yep, I would agree. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Abdul Carter, plus 170.
How is
favorite.
Travis Hunter still 9-1? He didn't even have a catch today. I don't even think he had a target today.
I know. Yeah,
like that is just that is where these awards markets are just flawed. That is on name recognition only.
Yep.
He is 9-1. Are you kidding me? He was silent in the game today because he is a young kid having to play two positions, and that is probably overwhelming for him. And it's just too much. Like it's just I think that's going to work out really poorly for Jacksonville. I really do.
Let's see. Abdul Carter, plus 170 favorite, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Coach of the Year, without playing a game yet, Ben Johnson, your favorite to be the Coach of the Year, plus 550. Liam Cohn, second favorite at plus 850.
I think Steichen should be up there. I should have bet him. I was going to bet him 30-1 before the season started. I have Gannon and Morris. If the Falcons win that game today, Morris is in perfect position to win that award. But no, not meant to be. I think Gannon's live, but I didn't like what I saw from the Cardinals in the second half of that game.
Yeah. Christian McCaffrey, the favorite, plus 185 to win Comeback Player of the Year. Love that because I have that ticket. Now, there's no update on Defensive Player of the Year. I haven't seen that, but my 15-1 ticket, Jared. How good does that ticket look now? Now, we don't have the updated market yet, but I have to venture that Nick Bosa is now much shorter than plus 1,500 because he had the strip sack fumble to end the game yesterday against the Seahawks. That it was like
I got 13-1.
Perfect play. Perfect play. Strip sack fumble. Game sealing play. DPOI.
It really was.
DPOI.
And if the Niners offense continues to be dealing with these injuries, Jennings got banged up. McCaffrey's obviously still very questionable, although I think he played through it okay. Their defense is going to have to win them games. I love Sal as a coach. I think they rallied hard for him. I think that defense is going to be good this year. I think they're going to win that division, and I think I do think Bosa will be live for that award. Parsons deserves to be the favorite. I mean, let's be honest.
He'd be absolute beast.
He is the story so far through the first couple weeks.
Well, Myles Garrett, though, had a monster game, though.
He did. He's going to be that team's going to be so bad this year.
Yep. Wanted to, before we get out of here, we'll tell you guys, we always, we promise 100% transparency always. That's why every pick that we give out on the Better Day Picks page is all there. You can scroll all the way back to the very first pick that I gave out on August 18th. So you can look at every single play. This was not a good football weekend for me. It wasn't a good football weekend for us. So, obviously these are plays that I give out personally, plays that I aggregate from my network, guys like Jared, guys like other bettors that we talk to, professional bettors, and information that I pull from people to give you guys the best bets possible. In college football, cashed with the Iowa State money line, lost with Duke +3, terrible game, cashed with the SMU team total going over, lost with Ole Miss laying 9.5 because of a field goal with 13 seconds left by Mark Stoops. Backdoor cover for Kentucky. I'm sure the boosters were very happy that he covered there with 13 seconds left. Lost once again. Second week in a row, I have given out the UNLV over, Jared. Second week in a row that If you played the better number, you won or you pushed. But I'm not going to give you numbers that aren't available. I can't just tell you to go bet something and then you can't get it anywhere. It does you no good. So when I give out the bets, it's when I type it up and put it up on the website, that's the price that's available at that moment that you can go grab and that's widely available. I gave it out at 55. It lands 53. Just like against Sam Houston, when I gave it out at 61 and it landed 59, so it's amazing. Anyway, lost that one. Did win, though, the Oklahoma first half. Great handicap there, fading Bryce Underwood early. So mixed bag in the college football and in the NFL, losing the Giants plus the 6, winning the Raiders plus 2.5, losing the Bengals -5, winning with the Packers money line, losing with the Stafford under passing yards, losing with the Rodgers under passing yards, and losing with the under in the Sunday night football game. So, listen, we're still profitable, and we're looking strong. We're going to obviously take all the data points from this weekend, look to bounce back with football next week, and, of course, we'll get back into handicapping some Major League Baseball because that has been a driving force for us during the week. So we'll get into all of that coming up on tomorrow's episode. As always, you can follow Jared Smith on Twitter at Jared Smith Bets. Check out his work hosting the BetUS TV NFL show every Thursday. You can find that on YouTube and look at Jared's Twitter account for all that, as well as his Fox Sports Radio appearances. You can hit me up on Twitter at Scott's On Air. Make sure you follow Better Day wherever you find it. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. And go to the website, betterday.com. We'll have an updated article coming out this week looking at the results from week number 1 and some lessons learned, maybe some questions answered, some things that we can take into our week 2 handicaps. For Jared Smith, I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.